Hey, what's up, Lace here, bringing you another build guide, and this time we got some Spectral Throw action. I personally never played Spectral Throw, despite the plethora of videos that are already out there on the skill and how good it is, and you know, I have to agree, it's pretty damn good. So yeah, it has a nice balance between sort of clear speed and then just killer 1v1 damage. So it's like a jack of all trades kind of character, which feels really good in Path of Exile. Alright, let's unpack this character. Let's talk about the skill first. Spectral Throw, what does it do, how does it work? So you throw out a projectile version of your weapon, and it sort of boomerangs back to you. When it reaches its maximum distance, it kind of hovers for a little while. But let's just talk about the actual circles that come out. So these circles do have a radius. They are just pretty much tiny damaging circles that fly out. And the size of these circles is based on your weapon's range. So on this foil, where it says weapon range 12, the size of the circle is half of that number. So mine have 6. Each different weapon types have different ranges, like these claws are 9 and 8. And with POE, it always scales down. So the weapon range on a claw, even though it's 9, will always be 4, the same as a dagger. And it's just one of those sort of quality of life things. You know, foils get that extra 2 little radius on there, and I think it just makes damaging mobs and little boss damage things a little bit easier to get. As you can see on the little hype video I made, when you switch from GMP to slow projectiles and you get the small sort of line of projectiles in front of you, having that extra little radius is going to make it easier to hit the boss. So ideally you want to get the boss right at the end of the sort of travel distance where the projectile hovers, because whilst the enemy is on top of the circle that you create, it can be hit 3 times, 0.3 times a second, which when you have a lot of projectiles stacking on top of each other, each of them doing like 3 hits a second, the damage just starts to really ramp up. And that's pretty much the scaling of Spectral Throw and how it interacts on bosses. So okay, let's move on now. Let's talk about the core concept of the build and how we scale our damage to get the insane amount of damage that we actually have. So I was actually inspired to make this by a Taki Cat video that I watched, where he talks about stacking abyss jewels on a bow character, and I pretty much made a sword version of this and used Spectral Throw. So as you can see on the tree, I have taken on quite a lot of jewel sockets. I have, I think, about 12 in total, all dotted around the tree here and there. And then I have the new abyss gear that came out, Tomb Fist, Light Poacher, and a belt, 2 sockets on each. One thing to note is that this build is not a budget build, it is quite expensive, and that's because these jewels are starting to get more sort of pricey the more they're talked about and hyped up, and people are starting to realize just how good they are. So just be aware of that. But yeah, we pretty much stack jewels similar to this. So I aim for a life roll and 2 flat lightning damage rolls. I think T1 is like 72. I typically go for about 58 average on both rolls, and that's something like 110 flat damage per jewel, something like that, 110, 120 if you're lucky. But you can actually get 4 prop version of these jewels. You can see here, life, double, flat damage roll, and a multiplier. So in terms of min-maxing and pouring currency into the build, this is a very good build to do that. If you want to only play one character for the entire league and just really sort of pimp him out and, like, you know, min-max and get insane sort of damage, perfection, this is a very good sort of concept to do that with. This jewel right here is probably the best one that I have. 42 life, 12 multi, and what's that, like a 54 average, 55, something like that. So that's a lot of damage. Let's see if I take that out. 107 base, boom, 117, 10k DPS from 1 jewel. That's crazy. Like, you can really see the potential here. So and scaling this method allows us to easily get like T1 attack speed and T1 crit and some multi and stuff there. You can see my weapon isn't very good. I could probably divine this a lot better as well if I wanted to. But yeah, that's pretty much how we scale our damage. We just stack these jewels wherever we can. It's very expensive because you have to get the double slot. But yeah, we have a crit build as well, so we have 517 multi right now. We get that on the tree and wherever we can on amulets and stuff and jewelry and all that. Ascendancy wise, we are playing a Scion. The main reason for this is the Overleech. I didn't want to pick a Slayer because the majority of the other nodes that are on the Slayer I think are kind of useless for me, being a one-handed sword build. And this also allows me to get frenzy charges on bosses reliably, which is awesome. So the reason I like Overleech is that it has a great synergy between the Soul of Arakali proc. If you're not familiar with this, basically Leech and the regen of Leech now is classed as recovery of life, and you can see there where it says 50% increase recovery rate of life and energy shield if you've stopped taking damage over time recently. That acts as a 50% more multiplier to how fast you are regaining your Leech to life. So the way that we proc that Pantheon here, you get a cast when damage taken with Blood Rage and Immortal Call. So you take 528 damage, Blood Rage gets popped, you get a 13% attack speed buff, which is awesome, and then Immortal Rage pops after that, which temporarily stops Blood Rage from degening you, and also procs this here, which then makes your actual leech rate really spicy for about 4 seconds. So usually your leech is based on your maximum life. The vanilla number of this is 20%. So when I hit something, I'm going to regen 20% of my maximum life, and then you take Volpact, which doubles that, which turns to 40%. You pick up Vitality Void, which is 3%, which also gets doubled by Volpact. That's 46%. And then obviously when you Blood Rage and Immortal Call procs, you get another 50% of that 46%, which is something like 66. My maths, I don't know. But yeah, you are getting degen by Blood Rage as well, so it works out about 60. But regaining 60% of your maximum life is pretty much almost instant leech. And just the synergy between Overleech and this Pantheon here is so nice. It means that I'm always at full HP, even when I'm running Blood Rage. It keeps my frenzy charges up, which gives me permanent onslaught due to the Raider here. You have onslaught while on full frenzies. And you also get 5 extra passive points, which allows me to get a couple more jewel slots on the tree. So that's the reason why I'm playing Scion on this build. Very comfortable. A lot of nice stuff. And also this node here on Slayer where it says 40% increased damage with hits against rares and uniques. That's actually a significant boost to your damage on Shaper and Guardians as well. So yeah, the Ascendancy is pretty cool. It also allows me to cut these 2 nodes here in a bunch of multi. Nice crit chance. And it allows me to come up here as well for some int. So that's the reason why we play Scion. Alright, let's talk gear, dude. This shield right here, like I said today, is one of the staple pieces of the build. It's very expensive because they made it like a T1 sort of rarity drop. And it just allows you to ignore all accuracy. Your hits cannot be evaded. So I have a 100% chance to hit right there, which for a crit build is pretty insane. It's broken actually. The other staple pieces are obviously the Abyss items. You do need, or at least you do want, 2-socket hat and gloves, because the jewels are insane. You could use the 2-socket belt, but I just prefer the flask duration, and you can get some wet on there as well, so a lot of life as well. So the Ziggy Stygian belt is pretty much, I think, BIS. But yeah, these are sort of the 3 staple pieces. Boots, I went with Calm's Roots. So yeah, I wanted to be stun immune, and I didn't want to have to travel all the way here. This is kind of up in the arms slot, because there is an Abyss boot called Bubonic Trail. So that's another 2 sort of sockets you could get here. And there is a way you can get stun immune using these jewels. You can see this jewel here has a 7% chance to avoid being stunned. So if you did manage to get like up to 50-60% of those on your jewels, you could replace Calm's Roots with Bubonics, and that's probably going to be an insane amount of extra damage, but the chance of getting, like, what, you need like 5 or 6 versions of these jewels on your tree, that's probably never going to happen. So that's why I went with Calm's Roots. Also, you can notice the enchantment I have on there, 1 to 60 lightning damage. This is like more of a boss damage thing. So when you fight in Shaper 1-on-1, you're not going to be killing anything. So you get that constantly. There is another one that gives you penetration, but that's very expensive to get, and I just didn't have enough money when I was buying these. But yeah, you want cams roots with either this roll on it or the penetration roll on it. Chest, I went with Belly of the Beast. It's just because we get a lot of flat life from the jewels, this 40%, well, up to 40% maximum life is just insane. It's the reason why we have 6.5k HP with as much damage as we have. So that's BIS. You have to get a Belly of the Beast for this. Weapon. Ideally you want a 2 attacks per second foil, and then you want T1 crit chance, obviously, and then whatever else you can get. These are the perfect rolls for me on this, pretty much. You could get a Shaper version of this. I'm not sure if it's a prefix or not, but there is a Shaper mod for elemental penetration. It probably is a suffix, but yeah, there is an open slot for something else. But the mods that I have on my weapon right now, which is attack speed, crit chance, crit multi, flatlining damage, and some wed, they're kind of the main rolls that you're aiming for. But personally, I would just buy any sword that has T1 attack speed and crit chance, and then the second best one, the third best one for that is multi, and then wed. The flatlining damage roll is kind of meh, but it's just a very specific item to get, and that's kind of, yeah, the weapon. Rings, yeah, you just want to fill out your resists on this, try to get a high life roll on there, and then obviously you want a wed roll on there as well. 36 and 40 wed are huge rolls. The T1 is 50% wed, but pretty much any piece of jewelry with wed on it is going to be extremely expensive. My amulet here is pretty good. It's got life, crit multi, a res, a wed, and a crit chance on there. I bought this for about 6 exalts, and the guy was very nice, so I bought it off. Props to him. But yeah, I think when you're starting out, just don't get the multiplier. Any amulet with multiplier on it and wed is just, man, you're gonna be paying exalts for it. And yeah, that's pretty much the gear. In terms of flasks, yeah, you obviously want a diamond flask, and you want a wise oak. Basalt or rumies is very nice. Depends if you want the curse removal or the freeze chance too. Sometimes I run rumies if it's not like, I don't know, if there's not any cold mobs or the boss doesn't freeze, and yeah, because like I said, he has 31% chance to block and rumies has 20, so that's 51% chance to block. Pretty good. Helps a lot with like porcupines exploding on you and stuff. And then yeah, last slot you can run an Edzir's Promise or a Quicksilver or maybe a Rumies, or put the Basalt there instead. Edzir's Promise is just a little bit extra damage. You mainly use that for bossing. And then we've already been over the jewels that you want. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the gear. In terms of gems, obviously Spectral Throw. You want the GMP and slow proj. You want wed, and then you want increased crit chance, elemental focus, and lightning penetration. I did dabble a bit with added lightning damage instead of LE focus, but you can just see the tooltip difference, 97k and 117k. The only problem here is that when you have this, you can no longer shock. And while it's nice to have the shock ability while clearing like trash mobs and maps, the chance of shocking Shaper or some other like endgame boss, it's just not going to happen. So you're better off for like endgame bosses just using elemental focus. And just because I'm lazy, I always run elemental focus now. One thing to note as well, get in 21 jewel on Spectral Throw and like pen and stuff is actually quite a big deal. You can see here 117. I put a level 20 in there. That drops down to 115. So getting like level 21 gems is quite a big deal on this build, I guess. So that's just another thing to min-max as well. And other jewels we have Wrath and Herald of Thunder. These give you flatlining damage. You have our Arakali Soul proc here. And then in the helmet currently I'm running a cast when damage taken conductivity. Yeah, I'm up in arms about using a golem or a totem. I guess you can kind of run whatever you want in the helmet. Yeah, I guess a con for running the dual sockets in your gear is that you're very starved for the amount of sort of passives gems that you can run. Obviously we have the movement speed here, whirling blades, 20 quality with 45. It kind of sucks that I ran out of mana when I'm whirling blades in a lot. It's kind of unsustainable in that respect, so it just kind of makes mapping uncomfortable when you're traveling without any mobs, but there's nothing we can do about it with the current setup that we have going on here. And yeah, that pretty much covers it for gear. Guess I can show you some POE stuff, how I leveled up and all that. So I come up here, took the dual socket, put like an Abyss Jewel with some flat damage on there, come here, put the life here. You can either put a Abyss Jewel in that second dual socket, or you can get the static electricity jewel. This is going to give you 40 flat lightning damage with all the decks in the area. Come up here, same again there, static electricity or Abyss Jewel, life, get the weird life, all the way over here, projectile stuff, HP. You can pick up that if you want. Oh, I screwed up the tree a little bit. Can you ever come here, or point blank? In terms of what skill, for me personally, because I had a Lycosidae and my accuracy was 100%, I ended up using Ice Crash for a bit, just because of the weapon I was using, which was Fidelity's Spike. Yeah, which is also the look of my sword in the video. Yeah, I skinned it onto my foil because it has quite a nice 3D art on it. So yeah, but this weapon, it's level 22, has 2 attack speed, a little bit of flat damage on there, shock chance, and the increased buff to Hail the Thunder. So it just makes Ice Crash kind of feel good because it's fast and nice, decent AoE on it. And you pretty much just one-shot all the trash mobs due to, like I said, a 100% chance to hit and use shocking and all that. So that's pretty much kind of the base tree level. It's about level what, like 50-ish. I typically come up here because you are intelligence starved. So you can't get your buffs like Wrath and Hail the Thunder. I did end up picking up both of these int nodes while I was leveling up until I began to come up here. So yeah, you get the flat lightning, some more damage lightning here. Or you can even start to build crit. If you have a Lycosidae, you can start to build your crit chance up around here. Pick that up, and you'd come up here as well. No, up here. And that's pretty much kind of what your tree is going to look like as you're leveling up. And you want the belly of the beast as well to help out with your HP. Yeah, I really don't recommend playing this build unless you pretty much have like similar gear to what I stated before. It just makes leveling up very nice with Lycosidae and belly of the beast, and it just fills out your life and all that. Tomb Fist is awesome as well. Pretty low level. Alright, I guess I can import my build too. You can check out the numbers, you can compare on your builds. So, Spectral Throw direct at the top. We do want to have our slow approach on there. Take GMP off. Guess we can leave Blood Rage on. It's got proc. We'll take off conductivity just because I want to be realistic. I do have frenzy charges because I get them from Scion. I do have. We'll turn the Flasks on manually. We are Intimidate from Tomb Fist. It is a boss. It is in fact Shaper. Projectile travel distance is probably going to be about 10. And then obviously you want to turn on all our Flasks. That's kind of it. Average damage 196k, total DPS 884k in POE. Obviously because of the mechanics of Spectral Throw, it's going to be way higher than this. But yeah, that's pretty much the numbers of my build imported to POE, so you can check it out. And that covers the entire build. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you. Error base radius of 6. I'm gonna kill myself. As I start down at duelist, I've had the and doesn't come back anymore. Just he hiked up the price to like four like. What the fuck? God damn.